Amazing tournament, honestly. Been going on. I hopefully. Wait a second. Wait a second. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. The mic is on. The mic is on. Okay. Everything seems to be going kind of okay. And I'll fix one setting here. Let's disable. Let's disable something. Okay. So today I have simple intentions. I'm a simple man. I want to look a little bit about this, and then I haven't done my notes for KGB yet. He's going to be pissed. But I need to get that done before my lesson with him at 2, and I kind of have a vague intention. I don't know if it's going to happen, but of like talking through the notes I did in my notebook today. I'm typing, and then while doing that, type it into my chess-based file that I got to give to KGB before my lesson with him at 2. Lots to do. And then after my lesson at 2, so 3, come on and like talk about what dude said about said note. First, though, before that all happens, I want to check out this business here. And what is happening? I think most people would look at this and say, white might have had an advantage before, now it's roughly equal. And yeah, back in the day, we'd just be like, white's going to draw this, no problem. And maybe it still should be no problem, but Magnus is going to work him, dude. Magnus is definitely going to work him. Now, I do want to focus solely on this game because I'm interested in how Magnus does a position like this. Yeah, very interesting, actually. I'm going to... Like, yeah, how does he think about it? Like, one thing I know KGB would say, well, position is equal. Well, it's got to be equal, but isn't it already a little bit unpleasant for white? Like, what is white supposed to do here? You know? That would be my concern. And it definitely wasn't a happy thing that white played b3. Very unhappy that he played b3. Because now your unopposed bishop on d1 wanted the pawns to be on dark squares, not on light squares. We can go back and ask that's forced. Anyways, I'm going to concentrate on this game, all right? But we're gonna look quickly at Shanklin's game here. I don't know if I can do this quickly. What a mess. Shanklin, dude, played that h4 business against the Grunfeld like a madman. Turned into like a weird King's Indian thing. And what do we got here? Madness. Pure madness. You know, actually, just by looking at it, that both sides have already made inaccuracies, moves they feel bad about. Total mess. Say the obvious, rook c4, it's all about the rook on d4 in terms of tactics, right? The thing cannot move because of both bishop c5 and knight d7. So that means knight d7 right now is a threat. Same reason we can't do rook c4 because of knight d7. So, either Sidler missed this move and he's lost, or he trusted that he would find a solution in this position. It definitely felt like he had full compensation before. This would be Shanklin's biggest arrival yet, man. I know, I take it back. I mean, this would be great, but he won the U.S. Championship once, which in my eyes is bigger than getting this, if he were to win this mini match here. But still, it'd be a massive deal. And maybe might put him above his highest FIDE rating. Yeah, this is the Grunfeld. It was Grunfeld with H4, which I associate with the madness of Grishuk. There are cops outside his house. There are less cops outside than there used to be. I moved to a slightly different neighborhood in Baltimore, but we still got some cops running around the house. It's funny. Read it auto-corrected from Grunfeld to Gruntled. That might be a new way of talking about the opening, to call it the Gruntled. That's not bad. You got to be a little gruntled to play that opening. I'm having a hard time coming up with a good move for Peter here. Bishop f6. Okay, there it is. Let's say white has two moves, as I see it. He's got ef threatening rook h8 mate, or he's got bishop d4. The good news for him, though, is on ef we can play queen takes f6, if bishop d4, queen f4, and that position still might be bad for us, but at least we're picking up some pawns. Yeah. The other obvious question, though, is what about bishop d4, cd, ef? I'm sorry I'm abandoning you for a moment, Carlson. I'm abandoning you for a moment, buddy. But I needed to look at this position. There's the cam is live on Sam. Amazing, I lived in the same house as Sam Shanklin years ago, man. GM house. No one thought he would get this far, dude. I don't even think Sam believed he was going to get this far. Right, so we got ef, queen f6, queen c5, rook d6 is Peter's attempt at survival for the ef variation. That, of course, gives white the opportunity for, let's call it the bishop d4 variation, which is a hell of a drug. It looks really frightening, man. I mean, at the very least, white can just tell himself, like, I'm doing great. Bishop d4, cd, ef, and queen f6, I guess, is your only move. And then queen c8 check to the miserable king, boss. You're on the run. Man on the run. Man on the run. It ain't no fun to be on the run. No, not so fun. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but you know, David Pruce started a chess club, I'm going to say around 2005, 2006. And it was in this like warehousey space down by the Oakland airport. And Josh Friedel was living in the area then, and they were kind of playing chess, hanging out there all the time. It was a very hard business venture because you had to bring people out there. Very hard, you know. Anyways, we had a couple Norm tournaments, and that was the time in which Shanklin really went for it as a kid, you know. And he started late like me, dude. That's the other thing about Sam Shanklin. He started late. He started around 12, dude. And Pruce was his early teacher, his early coach, way back in the day. As well as, you could say, Berkeley Chess School. He had a lot of help with the Berkeley Chess School back then. It's a good question. So I think it was official, like officially GM, like 19 or something. He was when he was at the chess house, he was like 17, 18. But I don't believe he was a GM yet at that point. No, he wasn't. And then he went to college too, man. Imagine what would have happened if he didn't go to college. Yeah, so he had some real disadvantages in life. Well, the good news, Pravid Deuce, is you got the internet, buddy. When me and Sam were kids, there actually Sam had all the advantages. Back then, you could at least play. There was ICC. There was a lot of chess to be had on the internet, but it wasn't like now where you got like loads of vids and stuff to watch. There wasn't like massive problem servers back then. Chess.com wasn't in existence. He chose a balanced path. He was really, one thing that was interesting about the kid back then is, even though no one believed in him, you know, I mean, and to be fair, it's hard to believe in someone in the chess world. It's like, dude, you started late and your rating isn't, you're not even the top of your age group. But he was like, I want to be at the best, I want to be the best at something, you know. He chose chess. I'm seeing a nasty variation here for white here. So we go bishop d4. I guess you got to take, boss. Maybe the point is like move your bishop. But you're definitely hating life. So takes, snip, snip, check to the miserable king. King e7, king g7, queen h8 mate. Queen c7, you got to go back to f8. This is not pleasant for a peasant, my friends. No one likes this. Then we go queen b8, and it's just done. If you go king e7, I take on a7 with check. Go king g7, queen h8 mate. Sam's an old dude, man. Ancient dude. At 29. And honestly, I'll be honest with you guys. When he made 2,700, immense achievement, immense. And then he fell below, and at the age, if you fall below at the age of 28, 29, chances are you're not coming back. Now he's coming back with a vengeance, dude. He's taking out Svidler. As far as I can tell, he's like doing great. Now, the only thing about this that suggests to me that maybe he's not doing great is he's tanking forever on this move. And to me, bishop d4 looks like a no-brainer, but that might just be a sign that I'm missing something. Yeah. Bishop d4 looks very strong. He might also just be thinking to himself, which is probably true, that Peter has something a little bit more sophisticated in mind than the variation I just blew through, you know? So you got that. I'm supposed to be wearing my fancy computer glasses. Now that a couple people are here, I want to say my intention today is a little bit of hangout. I do want to look at Magnus's game. And then I got to do my notes for KGB. So that might take a while, but I'm just going to do it, man. I'm going to push that baby through. I'm going to push it through. All right, let's go check a look. I generally don't like to look at more than one game, but let's go look up at Carlsen here. Maybe go through the last couple of moves. So, honestly, it looks like this is like the way Carlsen gives you the business, dude. Let's just say the obvious. In an earlier position, White thought he was going to be better because he had the two bishops. But he played the move b3, after which he's got an unpleasant position. Is he lost? Not even close. But is he going to get worked? Absolutely. He's going to get worked. Pawn Grubber. Thank you for rating us, man. Well, Pawn Grubber. I love the name Pawn Grubber, by the way. We're just doing a little hangout today, watching. I'm focusing on Magnus's game, but I'm about to jump back to Shanklin's game. And then I'm going to do notes for KGB. Basically, KGB is my coach. And I do one game a week, annotating one of my own games. I work hard on it, and then he eviscerates me. And then probably around 3 today, I'll come back on and talk about the terrible things he told me. Tim on thee is now following. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to get a really interesting time pressure scenario here. Marco Shrek, we got 2 raids. Nice. I do want to say to all the people raiding, now at the end of this stream, I always have to raid somebody, you know? And honestly, I like to raid the people who don't have a lot of followers. Now, that's so Marcos Rec. I'm gonna be looking for you in my little sidebar, buddy. Bishop f3. That's a nasty move to have to play. I mean, maybe it's his best move, but it's a sign that things haven't gone well. And what's weird about that, I just realizing is, in general, I'm a fan of the overdog, not the underdog. Like like in this position, for example, obviously Esipenko is the underdog, but I'm for Magnus, dude. I want him to crush it. But in terms of streamers, when I raid people, I always raid the person without any people, man. I don't know. That's some psychological stuff. Okay. Watching this thing. All right, Sam did something. Let's go back. I just see it on little cam here. I'm following, by the way, chess.com's new events center. So if you type in chess.com events, you'll find it. And things happened here that I don't understand. So I thought after bishop f6, I thought bishop d4 was a beautiful position for white. Now maybe Sam has a more forcing variation. We're about to find out. Snippos, chippos, and right, this position, I thought maybe black was going to survive. And Sam says, no, buddy, you are not going to survive. Oh, and this is truly evil. So if rook d8, my friends, look at this. Rook d8, rook h8, taste me, taste me. Nice, nice. Look at that. Boom, boom. Sorry, bro. Snippos, top, thap, whack. Bishop is of opposite color, dog. All right. So queen c8 played. Is the game over? Queen d8 loses to rook h8. King g7 loses to queen h8. And they have just signed the score sheets, man. Wow. Dude, Sam wins, man. Epic. Epic. The dojo is at the tournament, man. The dojo is at the tournament. Holy moly. And not only that, but like, here's like, I had my wimpy, like, pleb GM move. My pleb GM move here in this position was to play bishop takes d4. And Sam just was like, no, I'm not interested in that, boss. Right? Instead, we're going to go snip, snop, snook. Bang! Check to the miserable king. Ouch. Ouch. And here's the worst part of the news. Let's do the worst part of today's news. King e7, bishop h4. Taste it. Woo! Dang. Bishop h4. This bishop is of opposite color, man. That bishop was whacking you on the c5 f8 diagonal, the d4 h8 diagonal, and now the h4 d8 diagonal, bud. Ripping you apart. Dang. All right, let's go back to our friend Magnus. All right, this kid Esipenko is clearly saying to himself, dude, I have got a fortress. But as is well known, Magnus doesn't believe in fortresses. So he needs a good move here. The kid's obviously hoping to repeat after queen f6. Svidler is a great player still, man. You know, I think, though, he did give up his... I think when you start streaming all the time, you kind of give up your ambition. You know, doing commentary. And playing Hearthstone. Come on, Svidler, what were you thinking, buddy? Still a great player. Let's look at that game actually briefly. Well, I just want to say I thought Svidler came out of the opening fine. I thought he had beautiful compensation. Let's stick around here for a second, though. We got this interesting moment. My clock for Magnus isn't moving. Maybe a little refresh here. Maybe a little refresh on the button. Oh, draw. Draw agreed, my friends. Draw agreed. So there it is. I thought Magnus was going to try to work him a little harder here. Hendrik, thank you for following, buddy. I thought he was going to work him harder. That's why I showed up today, Magnus. But the good news for Magnus is tomorrow he gets white. And this kid, Esipenko, gotta say, man, like pre-pandemic, he would have been 17 years old. And now all of a sudden, he's like on the radar for the hunt, you know, the hunt for Magnus. I don't think he's ready yet, but like maybe in a year or so, who knows? I don't know anything about this kid. All of a sudden he's out there. Like Firouzja is a great player, but I don't know, Firouzja. I don't know if you've got what it takes, buddy. And Dubov. Oh, Dubov, I'm sorry, but you were once the prize, and now it's not looking so good anymore. It's starting to look more and more like pro football, aka pro soccer, where the kids just get younger and younger, and then by 25 your star is kind of like set, you know. It's not going to be that much. You're not going to have that much left, and you're not going to grow that much anymore. It's a brutality. All right, quick check on some of this other games here. If you want to be a fan of somebody, be a fan of this guy, Casper Pierun, dude. He's like, the guy came from nowhere, and I honestly think got good by doing problems, especially like studies and endgame studies. And Backrow's a name, dude. I thought that kid was going to be like circa 2003. I thought that kid was going to be amazing, man. Now he's an old dude. Not even French #1. I definitely thought, in terms of raw talent, oh, man, Backrow, dude. Amazing. What do I think of this position? White should be a little bit better. French #4. Yeah, what are we talking about? This guy, in terms of talent, I will go ahead and say this guy is probably the most talented French player ever. Back row is, outside of maybe that guy Labordonnais. Labordonnais was amazing, man. Anyways, Pierun is my champion because he's just your everyday dude, man. He got good doing problems. He didn't have a bunch of coaches and help. No one believed in that guy. And now, is he a little bit better? I kind of think he's a little bit better. Yeah, why not? He definitely had a nice position out of the opening, Steve. I thought the way Sam played was honestly madness. But it's got to be said, it was like mildly theoretical. It's hard to imagine to talk about theoretical now with H4, but there it is. I had my own Harry the H-Pawn game that I'm about to go over here in a second. Let's just click on this for a second with Duda. Oh, these glasses are hurting me. These glasses are killing me, dude. Pain. My streaming days might be numbered, my friends. Like glasses, I get pain. I get pain in my eyes. What the hell is happening here? Can someone explain this to me? It looks bad, dude. It looks bad. What's happening here? Alpha Canis Major. Thank you for the subscription, man. We need some subscription. I don't know. I don't understand what White's supposed to do here. It looks bad to me. And then we got this game. Holy bajoli. That bishop on b1 isn't the happiest piece I've ever seen. No, it is not, my friends. Basically, white has to mate here, or it's all over. Vedit. The Indians, dude. There's like 3 million people in an Indian chat room right now talking about how Vedit's winning this position. That's all I really know. Okay, so Sam, tournament of a lifetime. He is now, we got to say, expected to win this little mini match. Svidler has to win tomorrow, of course. Carlsen's going to beat this kid Esipenko tomorrow. That's what I'm saying. I thought the same thing again when he was playing Wojtasek. Back row Pirun, neither of those people really have a chance, dude. I don't think so. Dude and Grishuk, one of those guys could obviously make it. Grishuk's a dude who's still playing in his 30s. Yeah. Hasn't given up the dream. like Svidler. Has Svidler given up the dream? Let's go check Ye Old 2700 and look at some ages for a second. Ye Old 2700chess.com. And Firouzja, like I said, dude, down to 13, already 18 years old. Poor guy. Esipenko, 19. Now up to a live of 27-19. Shankland, 27-18. So right behind Esipenko, exactly 10 years older, 29 years old. Svidler, poor guy, 45 years old. That's rough. And then, where is my friend Grishuk? 37 years old. When you look now at the top 10, he is almost the oldest dude. Aronian is 38. Yeah. And then the first person over 40, oh gosh, is Anand, who's actually, there's no one in their 40s. He's 51, dude. Anand's 51. Amazing. Amazing, dude. That gives us old guys some hope. Topalov then, 46. Adams, dude, amazing. 49. He's at 27-16, so right around Shanklin. But otherwise, it's kind of a rough time for the old guys here. Svidler, 45. Honestly, it looks like Svidler's probably going to drop off the list soon. Well, he has one other tournament to prove it, I guess. But yeah, it's going bad. Okay, so, my friends, it is time that I change this up. I got to do a little bit of, what do you want to call it? A little bit of moving stuff around. We're going to call this Notes for KGB. I'm not good, and I'm very good. Let me just show you guys. I'm very good at doing the notebook notes. I don't necessarily always give myself enough time to do it, but I got this good rhythm where I'm doing one game a week, thinking about it, showing it to KGB. I did a vid recently about plus, minus, equals. It's changed my life, about improvement of all areas of life. And the idea, of course, is that I need a plus, someone who's better than me, or at least has some kind of deeper experience, even if their rating isn't that much higher than me, somebody with deeper experience who can share some perspective on the things I'm doing. Someone, also to someone to, like, even if you feel it's arbitrary that they're above you, or if your pride doesn't let you be above you, yeah, just give it to them. Just be like, you're better, boss. You do your thing and I'll do mine, you know? All right, we're transferring this beautiful coffee into another beautiful container, turning it from abused coffee to iced coffee. Mantis, buddy, thank you for following, man. All right, now, my friends, I need to create a little board. And we're going to do some work here. All right? We're going to do some work. Oh, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because this is all DM Hoki's fault. DM Hoki hasn't really given me, like I can't put notes for KGB over this other stuff. See, it doesn't work. It just, I don't know. Maybe there's some way for me to do this. All right, I'll work on this. I got some ideas. Maybe if I put a board over it, it would let me do it. So first things first, Cry. I need you to window capture this thing. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna go boom, because I need this. We gotta get the little. I think something like this should be okay. And then we're gonna make this smaller. Then we're gonna bring it over here. Yeah, see, I cover up all that real estate. See, DM Hoki, a man needs some real estate sometimes. You know what I'm saying? All right, make it a little bigger, buddy. And we'll make notes for KGB a little bigger. I know DM Hoki, he's real sensitive to like aesthetics and stuff. So we're just gonna get this right for him. And then, my friends, I'm just gonna axe this. Or I'll tell you what, this is what we'll do. I'll hide it. I hid it. This is when you're an advanced streamer, my friends. You know, you're talking about plus and equal and all that other stuff. It sounds like some feel-good story. But imagine you're a millennial like Kostya or DM Hoki, and you got to explain technical internet stuff to an old guy like me. Nah, not a nice place to be in, my friends. Not the happiest, not a happy place. It's not a happy place for DM Hoki to have to explain stuff to me, my friends. He doesn't like it, and I understand. Okay, so here we go, man. Okay, Erud, I won't be have a good time for now. But you see, I hid it for you, buddy. Did you like that, DM Hoki? I hid your business. I hid your business. All right, so I think this can, there's something over there we don't need. Let's do it like that. All right, so I got to do my notes. Got to do the notes. Got to make the bacon. Control F. All right, so this was a game I played at this last tournament. The objective is very simple. Even though my tournament was abysmal, I'm going to go through all these games and glean whatever I can from it. All right. So, my friends, we're going to do a little time. The guy has spent 0 time getting to this position. And I think for a touch and play this, let's give it a funky move, Mark. It's not a bad move, but it's a funky move. And I'll say, let's say new variation C5. This has been my approach for the last, what, 30 years? Is that fair? Dude, it's been a long time. I've been playing this C5 stuff for a long time. Let's just actually do a little bit of math. What are we talking about? Maybe more than that, dude. Let's say 33 years. 33 years I've been playing that move C5. And it always went like this. Castles, knight C6, A3, snip, snop, snuck, snick. Yeah, and Queen C7. And this has been, I played that position thousands of times. Anyway, so we got this thing. You know what I got to do? I played a game against Jan Elvist, and in the back of my mind, when I played B6, I was kind of thinking about this game with Jan Elvist, and that might be a game that I cover with KGB at some point. In any case, so same position. And I did a different approach here. So I went c5, castles, cd4, ed4, dc4, bishop c4, b6 was how I played against Elvis, U.S. Championship. I won that game. It was big for me to beat Elvis because the guy was a genius, still is a genius. 2010, and I was hoping to get this structure when I played b6. Okay, fair enough. We always used to call Elvis Elvis. Guy is Estonian, the really Soviet, you know, Soviet. And okay, so b6. How could it go? You know, not in that way. Well, first of all, he played CD. Now we get a different structure, but it could have gone that way if, say, let's say a3, snip, 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 right? It could go kind of similar structure with knight d7, c5. c5 next. That was kind of, you know, very simple setup, knight d7, c5. Okay. So, b6. Now, one thing I'm going to do after this is over is, when I say this is over, I mean when I'm done analyzing these games, is KGB is going to put me on some kind of training regimen. The guy doesn't believe in openings, but one thing I am going to do is I have these books with a Nimza book and a Queen's Indian book, and I think I want to focus on those books for a while and really Chessable it out. And chess.com is going to be like, no, you can't use Chessable, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to be like, dude, you create your own Chessable and I'll do it there. But until then, I'm going to be doing the Chessable, buddy. Anyways, to get it right, because one of the things that's controversial about what happens here is certain structures are going to arise where arguably I didn't really appreciate what was going on. Okay? All right, CD. He's playing quickly here. ED, and he plays this funky move here, Queen C2. We're going to check later about, I'm sure some strong GMs have played this move, Queen C2. But I'm going to say it's funky. Again, let me just say with this B6, yes, I've seen games with it and stuff, but it's not like I knew any theory. I just knew that I'd be able to play the resulting positions. Okay. Now, I really despise my next move, but I'm going to put it in first, just so I can do some other variations. And of course, I thought for a little bit. Whenever you make a bad move, you're going to think a bit. Okay, so all right, a bad move. So let's write it out. Let's try to write it out. The point of Queen C2 is to make the retreat Bishop D6 painful due to Knight B5, and to be able to recapture with the queen. My move sticks to my original intention of the setup with a6, bishop d6, and a6, bishop d6. Okay, that's fine. With a6, bishop d6. The problem there, though, is I can't do a6 directly due to e4. So that should have been my clue to rethink the position and ask, how can I exploit queen c2? All right. Now, one bummer I got to say about this is when I'm writing all that out in ChessBase, you guys can't see it. I'm hoping it's still kind of pleasant, interesting for me to be chatting like that. Okay. Okay. So rook e8, and the move I feel good about anyway, we're going to see what KGB says, is that I should have said queen c2. That is now, should be a victim on the c file, and I should have played c5 with boom, 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 and I'm going to say counterplay. Or b takes c3, bishop b7, here, here, and we're going to call this also, like, whatever you want to call it. Interesting game, counterplay. Yeah, this one. All right, so now, rook e8, the guy thinks for only a minute and plays 154. And I'm going to say, okay. And we're going to say the a3 is fine, but the castles was also possible. To make me think twice about c5. Because the bishop's still hanging out on b4, and then you have to deal with the a3 question. But a3 I think was fine. Bishop f8, and now we're going to see what dude says. So hold on. First of all, bishop f8. Obviously, the hope of rook e8 would be that bishop f8 is a snug home. But if the bishop is gonna return to d6 anyway, then it's not clear that rook e8 is such a great thing. Okay. But now my opponent makes an instructive mistake that I do not capitalize on. He need castles. Didn't even think about it. And we're going to call that a mistake. And that b4 was an exclam. And we're going to call that with a similar, ensuring that white, let's say, ensuring that white gets something like the game. Okay, so castles is a mistake because it allows. Well, first I got to put my bad move on the board, bishop b7. And I played it instantly. Wasn't even thinking about it. Idiot. Played instantly, set on the structure in my head. We're going to give that a question mark. C5 exclam with, let's call it full counterplay. Oh, I love that position. Beautiful position. And now all my pieces make sense. Dude, all my pieces make sense after C5. Oh. I have some real disappointments here. Okay, so up to this point, move 10, I've made 2 mistakes. The guy's made 1. Oof, 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 oof. And I guess this is the moment where we see where the novelty was and everything in terms of the reference database. Queen C2 has been played a couple times. It's got a terrible Agdestein. Magnus's old coach played Queen C2. And makes sense. Castles is the most common move. MVL played it, yada, yada. Okay. So, Queen C2, let's go down this road. And I should have played C5. There it is. And some other clowns played Rook E8. Some fools. Terrible move. C5 for sure. My old friend Christian Bauer, we're talking about French players. He's probably French number 7 or something. I don't know. Rook E8. And I guess A3 now is novelty. It might transpose later though. Like this could, you could imagine this transposing. So let's go bishop F8. Okay, no, well, let's give it a second. Daster, I'm going to talk about it after my chess base figures out its soul. It's like stuck, like all chess bases are. They're stuck in the software of 1999. Yeah, I'm going to pull the plug, chess base. I'm going to pull the plug. We're going back. So, why is C5 so cool? Well, first of all, if white achieves B4, as he does in the game, he is going to have, I think, a slight advantage. And the main reason for that is this structure that I'm aiming for with A6, bishop D6. I am losing a tempo in that because I had to go to F8. In fact, we got to do another point here. If I try to do it like this, A6, then my concern would be A3, bishop D6, E4, exclam, and I'm going to call that either clearly better or a little bit better. Let's be modest and say a little bit better for white. And I looked at this position and I couldn't find anything. Well, I've moved a couple more variations. I look at boom, boom, rook E8, bishop G5. And I'm just down in development, you know? Down in development. Okay, so that's why I had to compromise, or I felt I had to compromise with bishop F8. What was the problem, though? I didn't need to. The queen C2 is itself a debatable move. That's why every time I play C5, the queen will eventually be a victim on the C file. If I allow B4, the queen's not necessarily going to be a victim. This position, though, he's got queen as a victim problem. Oh, this stupid thing here. Well, it's stupid, like control. Oh, gosh. How do I do? I always forget. It's like some nasty. Okay, the queen's a problem, and the bishop's a problem. Right? The queen, a problem insofar as she is going to owe me a move, and the bishop's a problem because it's poor. And C5, yes, I might get an IQP or hanging pawns, but in general, it's going to be a beautiful day for me. And here my bishop on f8 truly makes sense. And I'll do things like bishop b7, and depending on where he goes, then I could go to c6 or d7. And maybe someday I'll have bishop g4. Is this gentleman a Dutchman? I'm an American, though, with a Dutch name. A very common Dutch name. The Smiths of the Dutch. Okay. All right. So, my friends, let's keep going. Bishop b7, terrible move. I analyzed this game for at least a week, and I've been dying every time I see this move, bishop b7. What a missed chance. Okay. So now I'm worse again, I think, after b4. So let's go ahead and say this. Now, here's one thing that I'm still struggling with KGB. I've asked him a couple times, but I don't really understand it. So I'm going to try to put in words. The guy gets upset when I say things like white is better or black is better. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, what do you mean? There are only two important questions. Do I understand this position? And is it pleasant? Okay. So I don't yet have like a little notation for it is pleasant or I understand the position. So if I was to translate this into KGB language, then it's a little unpleasant for me, and I think I understand what white's supposed to do. Let me put it that way. All right. So I played knight bd7. My opponent played a move I think is okay, rook b1. I then go for my structure a6. Now, hold on, Craig. Don't forget your times. So, so far I have not spent much time. KGB is really on me if I spend time on intuitive moves. 146 for dude. And then I play my next move very fast. So you can see, like, honestly, maybe KGB would be like, here, let me put it this way. I think I'm actually going to use this kind of position as a thing for the U.S. Chess School on this Friday, and to talk about the pawns aren't people idea. Chess Gary, thank you for following. So the pawns aren't people idea is like a thing where lower-rated players, and in this case myself, are obsessed with pawn structure instead of thinking about their pieces. So I'm going to go for a setup here with bishop d6, hoping for some kind of initiative against the white king, which I do eventually get with knight e4, in return for some pawn weaknesses on the queen side. But because I was so narrowly focused on the pawns, I wasn't thinking about where the pieces were going. For example, the queen on c2. That was the key hint of like, dude, you got to rethink about what is happening here. And you can't lose a tempo just to get to this stupid position, man. Anyways, I think the tempo is the difference why this is going to be such a big thing, because it is a position where white has some clear objectives on the queen side, and I need to create drama on the king side. So the tempo is a big thing. Now, Chess Gary, you got an important question. How do you put the time in ChessBase? I have talked to ChessBase and been like, hey, you guys, what you need in ChessBase, if you're listening to me right now, this is very important. You need like a separate little thing that I can click on that lets me put the times in. It would be great, because then at the end of the game, I could create a graph showing like the time fluctuations. Now you could say to yourself, Cry, well, you know, a lot of these top events, you can get the times. Timothy, thank you for subscribing. You could say, you get the times, Cry, so why do you need it? And it's kind of true. For example, this game, I think if I looked on the internet, I could find the times as well. But, for my own personal analysis, I really want to have, I want to write the times in. And a lot of the events I'm playing in, that it isn't there. There isn't like some board attached to a DGT thing. Daniel, thank you for following. So anyways, that's a thing, Chess Gary, that would be great as a chess-based feature. I've reached out to them. Hopefully they're listening now, but they're not listening, dude. ChessBase is stuck in 1999. That's when I was introduced to ChessBase, maybe 1998, and it was amazing then. ChessBase in 1998 was amazing. It hasn't changed that much from then to now. Okay, here we go. So A6, and now A4, played quickly by my opponent. My opponent is a lower rated dude, but a lot of the stuff he did well on a practical level. Like playing quickly here. I played bishop d6, and now my opponent definitely made a mistake. He played queen b3, and quickly, very quickly, played this move. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about it right now, but I am going to give it a question mark, and we're going to say better is b5. In the postmortem, I was even having trouble. When I say postmortem, I just mean by myself. I was having trouble being like, dude, do you really know what you're going to even do here? And so there's one interesting question. First of all, my intention was to take. Why? Because the rook wants activity. I could also suffer with a5. Let's give that a funky move mark. But then the reason white is better, A, because of the tempo I just gave him, but B, he can say, I've got the extra pawn in the center and set up with like bishop b2, rook b e1, play for f3 or f4 at some point. But anyways, a5 would only be a last resort if either I felt that ab or knight b5 were terrible for me. So ab, I'm going to call that an advantage for him. And my personal preference, if I was white, would be to play knight b5. Just because now, with the open lines against the queen side, it would be harder for me to generate anything in the center. Yeah, so I like this for white as well. We'll see what KGB says. One thing I think KGB is going to say is he's going to say, honestly, it will sound like this, I think. He'll say, from personal experience, I know that there is no attack for black on the king side. So I am not worried about it. I will simply play improving moves, and then you will lose. And we might even do some moves as a practice. He'll crush me, and, you know. Anyways, that's my sense of the position, by the way, that white is better with whether it's AB or AB, knight b5, that white just has a nice advantage. And it's a pleasant one. It is a pleasant one, you know, in KGB's words. Dude now loses a tempo with queen b3. There are some virtues to this queen b3 move, but mostly it's a loss of time is the issue with it. I played knight e4. I think that is correct. I'm guessing he thought that this was not possible. He plays bishop b2. He's still playing very quickly. And the obvious tactic is this problem. One thing actually is admirable about what this guy does is he kind of brings home KGB's, let's call it intuitions, which is, not intuitions, process, method of playing chess, which is you do not think on these moves that are ultimately positional. You can think about it after the game and then develop your positional understanding after the game, but do not be thinking about it during the game. Think about it. Think about the positions where you're going to have to calculate. And that's what this guy does do reasonably well. He's saving his time for when he does have to calculate. Now, I do think I'm fine here because I won a tempo. Maybe better than fine. We'll see. A, B, A, B. Where are we, boss? Let's say with B5. Where are we? Can I get a little, can I get some times here? 139. So we're similar on time. A, B, A, B. And I played Queen E7. I got 135. Okay. So Queen E7. And now the guy plays, I think, a good move. It's at least interesting. Knight E2. Now, you might, there's a couple things about this that I like. I'm going to give him an exclam, but I'm also going to say here, I evaluate the position as like dynamically equal, something like that. Okay, so we get this position. Nota bene. Earlier on, he could have played B5, knight takes B5. And a genius part about knight E2 is the knight on C3 has to be improved. And he does not want to take on E4. Like, all of my power is going through E4, and in particular, this dude here is a helicopter parent living through the aspirations of the knight on E4. If my knight on E4 disappears, gets traded off, goes to college, the bishop on B7 is going to be very unhappy in life. Like, it is living through that knight's dreams. If the knight ever gets took, then the bishop will get its own dreams, you know, because I need to attack the king, and I need that bishop to help with the attack of the king. Ash, thank you for following. So, knight E2 gets out of the way of those trades and helps the kingside defense, and also introduces the idea of knight E5. What would knight E5 do? It would involve his own terrible bishop, the bishop on B2. Okay, so I'm going to call this the first critical position for black. Okay, and here I spend 22 minutes. Okay, I go from 135 down to 113. Now, first I'm going to show you the move I did. And I'm going to type in how long I took there, because it's just massive. Will KGB yell at me for taking 22 minutes here? Probably, but there were things to think about. I promise, KGB, there were things I was actually thinking about, buddy. So let me show you the following. So the first question is, like, do I feel like I have a right to have an advantage? And KGB might be like, oh, you're confusing your life by thinking about advantage. But basically, I'm going to go down a road. I'm about to show you a road, okay? And at the end of this road, I got to wonder, is this better than the position I have at the beginning, right? Basic question. We'll see. I have a feeling he's going to yell at me for that. He's like, no, you must be unemotional. You must simply calculate this kind of crap. But I have to compare the final position to this one, right? So I play, the other move was knight G4, and I have the following critical variation. I'm threatening knight EF2, queen e3. So here's the following variation, my friends. h3, queen e3. And the first glance is that black should be fine. However, there are problems. The biggest one being the bishop on b7 is terrible. The knight on e4 is gone, so all of his dreams are gone. All of his dreams are gone, buddy. And white has two ideas that are very annoying. Knight e5, which threatens bishop h7 and bishop c1. Those are white's ideas, after which I'm just worse, and my rooks are not that impressive. So I came up with the following idea, and I'm pretty sure I saw this during the game. c5. Now, if he doesn't take on c6, I'm just going to say, as long as I don't lose the queen, what a huge historic achievement that I get to put the pawn there, right? So takes, bishop a6, involve the bishop, my son. Now, I think there's only one move for white, rook d1. Now, again, he's threatening knight e5 and bishop c1. So the best I could come up with was snip, 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 and now rook here. I think rook b3 is an exclam, rook c6, knight c3, and I'm just going to give this an unclear position, because if rook b8 intending rook knight d5, knight d5 b5, he's got rook b5. So rook b8, I guess, is a mistake. If you could come to this position, you say, well, what do you do? Maybe rook a5. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'd rather be white. I have a feeling KGB. I don't know. I'm about to play f6. So it'd be more like rook a5, unclear. Or, in this position, I could really go for it with b5. Let's give it a funky move, Mark. And then it would be like boom, boom, boom. But I got to pass b-pawn, baby. And I don't know. Hard to judge. Hard to judge, right? So in my mind's eye, I think I saw something to the effect of like here. And in my mind's eye, I'm terrified of the pawn on c6, man. That's terrifying, dude. And then also I asked myself, well, wait a second. This is the best I got? And I'm spending time. I told you it's understandable, right? That I spent 22 minutes. Then the question becomes, all right, I'll go back. All right? Well, then how do I hate getting rid of these arrows in chess space, dude. Really annoying. Okay. How do I what do I do if it's not knight g4, you know? Very hard to judge. I end up, yeah. And let me just say positionally, the point is that if I give him enough time, he should be able to organize his extra pawn on the king's side. Oh, man. Okay. Hi, Lucas. All right, so I played h5. I think it's an alpha 0 plan. Is it dubious? I don't know. I'm going to say dubious. Okay. Yeah. This is a hard life. If g5, then I'm concerned with bishop takes, knight takes, knight g3. This is terrible. Oh. So a very difficult position. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, man. And h5, let me just say, I'm going to put a note to it. An abstract plan inspired by Alpha Zero and the mythos of Harry the H-pawn. There we go. Okay, so, jeez. Harry the H-pawn. Okay, so what should white do? I think, okay, first let's see what he did. Not a bad move, queen c2. He needs to play queen c2 before he plays knight e5, right? Because of knight d2. My sense is he should just play rook a1 and be better. And we're going to see a variety of moves coming up shortly where I think he should be playing rook a1. Queen c2 also really negates the knight g4s of the world. Right? Actually, maybe I'll show a variation. First, I'll just show you what I did. Because chess-based demands, well, you can promote variations, you know, but whatever. All right. Very abstract, this h4 business. In fact, let's write this here. Especially abstract and bold because it's not clear that the king side is actually mine. But I don't know what else to do. Maybe I should write that. Nix, thank you for following, buddy. But I was having a very hard time finding a path, and the time spent reflects that. KGB's got a great theory that I've bought into, that if you spend loads of time, like here I spent another 25 minutes, it's a sign that things have gone wrong. And that you just need to move, man. You just need to move. Hey, Nordovich. Nordovich has called me his plus, which I'm honored. I'm honored about. Now, I don't know. We're going to give it a funky move mark, but I don't know what else to do. Now knight g4 is not anything special as far as I can tell. Because there's no nothing now. There's no nothing. Let's just call that clear advantage for white. So I do this funky h4 thing. What should the guy do? Well, maybe his move is in fact okay. He played h3. Let's call it okay. He spent some time. Now, did my fancy h-pawn move cost him time? Not really too much. Then I tank again, and I play knight d7. So I'm losing a lot of time. KGB is going to yell at me, man. He's going to be like, dude, you're killing me. It was hard, though. I didn't know what to do, man. Gains. Chess gains has got to be one of the best handles out there. So anything with gains in it's got to be good. I didn't know what to do. KGB is going to yell at me, but I had a hard time figuring out what to do here. I looked at all kinds of weird stuff. I couldn't figure anything out. All right. And one of the things about this, very important to say, when I'm going to say but I think anybody is having trouble, believes in their position, but then has trouble finding a path to, say they believe they're better, but they don't see any path where they're then better at the end. Then that's when they really burn time on the clock, because they're like, dude, I've got to find it. I've got to find it. And then they can't find it, and they just end up spending more and more time. And 97 is definitely a concession, right? So let's write that. Obvious, oh shit. Cancel. Obviously a sad concession. Because Russians don't retreat. Okay. Hot Cherry, that's a nice name. Thank you for following, buddy. All right. This is Cherry Blossom Redux? Yeah, this is from Cherry Blossom, dude. I'm still working on it. I'm getting through it, though. One game a week. One game a week. This game, very fascinating analysis. It was very enjoyable. I could have spent